One of the biggest tricks that the devil tries to convince you of is that you are weak for reaching out for help, or that you are weak for needing support. And let me prove with scripture why that's flawed. Proverbs 18:1 says, "He who isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks free from all sound judgment." True success is ultimately what we are all looking for, which is being obedient to God by aligning our external behaviors and actions with our internal calling and purpose. And in that intersection is truly where purpose actually lies. And purpose is the oxygen to our soul that keeps us alive spiritually. But in order to align with purpose, we need revelation. Proverbs 29:18 says, "Where there's no divine revelation, people run wild, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he." When you are connected to God and you're receiving his revelation, that is when you are happy. You're not going to need to settle for counterfeit form of thrill. Thrill that feeds your flesh is sin, but thrill that feeds your purpose is oxygen to your soul. And how to receive revelation is by receiving conviction. And how to receive conviction is by being submitted to godly community. And community is synonymous with accountability. When you are submitted to godly community, it puts pressure on your demons by osmosis, by association. You're a product of the people that you spend time with. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. It's because when your friends have high standards, that will raise your standards by default. And on that note, one of the craziest tricks that the enemy tries to convince you of is that you have self-awareness when you're not submitted to godly community. Dude, that is not possible to be self-aware if you're not submitted to community. Because if you're isolated, isolation is dangerous and breeds depression, but intentional solitude with God is powerful and breeds revelation. And if you are isolated and claiming that you are self-aware, dude, that self-awareness is limited by your flesh. Thomas Paine says, "He who is accountable to nobody ought not to be trusted by anybody." Why? Because if you think you're self-aware by your own standards evaluating yourself, you are limited. You can't see the blind spots that you have. And that's why self-awareness is only synonymous with accountability, because if you're not submitted to godly community, how can you claim that you're self-aware? And so if you can't claim that you're self-aware, how do you actually know your blind spots of what's limiting you? And if you can't be self-aware about what's limiting you, how can you actually have self-awareness and courage to align with God's purpose for your life? So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and suffering silently and need godly community, comment or message me community if you're serious.